Hi guys, thanks for joining me. A couple of days ago, I was looking at a sales circular for Hobby Lobby, Michael's. I don't really remember, but what I do remember was there was a really cute spool of ribbon that was on sale, and it had a moose print on it. And that got my head to spinning, and I thought, I know I have some ribbon upstairs in my craft room that I think was 100% polyester. So I came up to look, and in fact it was 100% polyester. I got this last Christmas, really didn't do much of anything with it. It was kind of an impulse buy because it was 60 or 65% off. So what I'm going to do on this video is I'm going to show you how I bring a moose into Cricut Design Space. I will cut some scraps of infusible ink into shapes of mooses, whatever the plural of moose is, and then I'm going to go ahead and infuse that into my ribbon. The things I'll use are my computer, my Cricut Maker, some scraps of infusible ink, of course my ribbon, my cutting mat, and then the paper that came with the infusible ink and a piece of white cardstock. And then I'm going to use my little Easy Press Mini, a heating pad, scissors, and this heat resistant tape. I'll turn the camera angle around and we'll get started. The first thing that I need to do is find the image that I want to use. And so what I did was I Googled free moose image, and then I just clicked on images, SVG. Okay, so then you can scroll through here and look for the one that you want, but I already have the one I want. So I'm just going to pretend that I want this one right here. So I drag it over to my desktop on my Mac. If you're on a PC, I think you probably right click and then click Save As and tell it where to save it. Now we'll go to Upload, Upload Image, and then I'm going to find my image on my desktop. And I'm going to go with the one that I found last night, which is right here. Now this is a really simple image. It's just a two-toned or a two-colored image, white and black. So I can click on Simple, Continue, and then one click should get rid of everything that I need to get rid of. And it did. So I'll click Continue, and then it's defaulted to the Print Then Cut side. So I need to click over here on Save as Cut Image, and I'll save it as Moose. So I've saved that into my images. I can click on it now and then just say Insert Image. And that's all there is to it. Super simple. Now I want to make this smaller, and the proportions are locked. So I'm just going to slide it down. And I have no more than 2 inches, and that is 2 inches at the very most. And so from the bottom of his hoofs to the top of his rack, it's a little under 2 inches. So I think I'll go down to, I don't know, 1.84, that'll work. Then I don't know how many I can get on my remnants, but I think I'll just, whoops, let's go back. All right, where'd you go? Okay, I think I'll go ahead and duplicate this. I'm sure I can get about 8. So let me duplicate it 7 times, and then we're ready to cut. So I'm going to click on Make It. Now, in measuring out my material, it looks like I might not be able to get this last one, so I'll go ahead and delete it. Guess I'm just hiding it actually. Then let's click Continue. Here is the infusible ink transfer sheet. Now, it wants me to mirror it, but I actually want the moose to be facing the other direction. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's cancel that. So right now the moose are facing left. I really prefer them to be facing right. And so if I don't mirror it, they will be facing right. So I'm just going to click Continue without mirroring it. And then Infusible Ink transfer sheet. Make sure that I have my fine point blade in, and we're good to go. Now your infusible ink goes carrier sheet down. So your shiny side is down and your ink is up. And what I'm realizing as I look at this is that I have 2 rows that are supposed to cut here and 1 row here. So I will have to go back onto my computer screen and drag the 2nd row over to this right side of the mat. And then they also tell you not to get the oil from your hands on your infusible ink. So I'm just using this piece of cardstock to protect the infusible ink from my hands. Okay, so I got the layout fixed. I want to check my blade and make sure that it's clean. Looks good. And then I have plenty of scrap infusible ink left, so I'll cut around each of these little guys. Or not around each one, but I'll cut my excess away from them. And then if you've never used infusible ink, it's very different to weed. Once you get it started, you can just kind of pull the paper off. There we go. Just rip a piece and start pulling it off. And with each of these standing at less than 2 inches, that's some pretty intricate cutting. I have my little Easy Press Mini here. I have preheated it, but I turned it back off so that you could see this. I'm going to go ahead and put it on high. So press it until all 3 lights come on, and then let it get up to temperature. Once it's up to temperature, that's going to turn green. Then I have my Easy Press pressing mat. I'm going to put a piece of cardstock under what I'm working on just to protect this mat. If I wanted to waste a bunch of material, I could have spaced these out in the exact spacing I wanted on my ribbon, but then you'd be weeding away all the excess in between. So I'm actually going to hand place each of these. And actually what I think I'll do is take off every other one. And then let's go ahead and cut these 2 bottom ones away. Then I can just lay these down like this, and I know that they're going to be the same distance apart. And I want to start in just a little ways from the end. I don't even know what I'm going to do with this ribbon yet. Okay, it's going uphill though, I can tell that. And actually, there's a front side and a back side of the ribbon. They're very similar, but one is finished off just slightly nicer than the other. So I need to go ahead and turn it over so I'm on the correct side. Then I just want to go over this for a couple of seconds to get any moisture out of it that might interfere with the ink infusing. Okay, and I want that to be a little bit cooled so that when I set my ink down on it, it doesn't try to start infusing until I get it set exactly where I want it. Okay, I think that looks pretty straight. And I believe I'll go ahead and start in the middle here. So I have the butcher paper that they send with the infusible ink. And I've set a timer on my phone to 75 seconds. Now with only 4% power remaining, hopefully this works. Okay, I'll go ahead and start it. And you're supposed to kind of move your iron around while you're doing this. So I'm going to go ahead and do this for 75 seconds. I'll fast forward through it, and I'll move on over to this one, and we'll check them out. Okay, my timer went off. Now, I can't really look under here yet because then I'm afraid I'll move this tape, or I'll move my backing from the infusible ink. Let me just drag my paper over. All right, let's go ahead and lift this up and see what it looks like. Cute, very, very cute. Now you might have noticed, well, I can just show you right here. Look how the paper actually looks brown. The infusible ink, before it's on your project, looks brown. And then look how much more vibrant it is when it actually infuses into your fabric. That's how all of the infusible inks are. So if you have a really pretty colored one and you open it and you think it looks terrible, it's going to look really nicely. Okay, so I'm going to line those back up just so I get this third one in the right place. Okay, so there is our ribbon, just the start of our ribbon. So now what I'm going to attempt to do is to get the rest of them spaced out to where they need to be. And to do that, I can still see, just barely, the impression of where they used to be, the ones that I peeled off. So the first thing I'll do, and I'm using where the hooves were to try to get this just right. So we'll push that back down on there, and then I want to take this guy off. He might have a little bit of ink left in him, and I want to get rid of that. Now I'm actually starting to go off the carrier sheet, so I'm going to adjust what I'm doing. I'm going to go back to the ones that I just pulled off, the ones that I used, and just put the good ones over those. Now on this one, just for purposes of knowing where to place them, I'm going to put one of the new ones over one of the old ones. Okay, now you might have noticed I didn't even use this because my backing was sticky enough and I was just doing small areas that I really didn't need to put any of this tape down, so I skipped using it. So there's the last two that I did, and then you can see how most all of the ink came off of those. I have one yet to go, but I think I'm actually going to save him for something else. I have two spare ones over here to the side, so I'll have three ready for something else. But isn't that really, really cute? I don't know what I'll use it on yet, but you'll probably see this show up in a later video. Thanks so much for joining me. Until the next video, bye-bye.